A question for you. Would you take a vaccine from a company that while testing a drug killed 11 children, sold unapproved drugs, covered up harmful side effects, paid the biggest fine in history for lying in advertisements, sold medicines that caused cancer, mental health problems, paralysis, heart attacks, and strokes? This is the story of Pfizer, a pioneer of penicillin, the maker of COVID vaccines, a master of marketing and a champion of fraud. While Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, publicly says it was easier to make a COVID vaccine than a cure for anti-Semitism, beneath the shiny PR sits a 175-year-long list of lawsuits, controversial trials, fines, and drug recalls. So, let's start from the beginning. Pfizer began in 1849 in New York, exploded during World War II with mass penicillin production, and after that learned its most important lesson. In pharmaceuticals, marketing is sometimes stronger than a microscope. From the 1950s, when aggressive marketing began, Pfizer used ads to enter doctors' offices directly, and decades later received warnings for misleading advertising and false information about many of its products, including Zoloft, Celebrex, Lipitor, Zitromax, Plax, and Detrol. To this day, Pfizer has absorbed around 40 pharma giants and owns more than 300 subsidiaries. Because what's the fastest way to get to number one? Buying out the competition. In 1986, the US FDA revoked approval for an artificial valve after 300 deaths and suspicions that defects have been covered up. Pfizer later announced settlements of up to $205 million, paid millions for lying to regulators, and dished out an additional $9 million for veterans' hospital programs. Resolin, another of its products, was withdrawn after patients suffered severe liver damage, while others required liver transplants and others even died. By 2009, Pfizer has resolved more than 35,000 lawsuits associated with the toxic product. In 2004, Pfizer and its subsidiary Warner Lambert agreed to pay $430 million over allegations it encouraged doctors to prescribe its epilepsy drug Neurontin for conditions it was not approved to treat, and that it manipulated the publication of scientific studies to support the drug's use. And as if that still wasn't enough to learn the lesson, in 2010 and 2014, Pfizer again paid hundreds of millions of dollars for the same drug, for selling it for unapproved uses. Then there are Pfizer's painkillers, Celebrex and Bextra, which were alleged to have caused heart attacks and strokes in users. And in 2009, the record of all records for illegal marketing.
Pfizer has agreed to pay $2.3 billion, the largest healthcare fraud settlement in the history of the Department of Justice.
For Pfizer, however, that's a bill smaller than 3 weeks of sales. And imagine how far Pfizer's manipulative and unethical practices go when in 2010, Pfizer had announced it had paid $35 million to around 4,500 doctors and other medical professionals and centers for, to put it simply, advocacy on the company's behalf. And here is, in my view, the saddest story. During the worst meningitis epidemic in Africa in 1996, Pfizer tested its new antibiotic Trovan on children in Nigeria. Among 100 in the test group on Trovan, 5 died, and survivors suffered liver damage and other lasting consequences. In the control group receiving a standard antibiotic, 6 died, and the families claimed the dose had been deliberately reduced to make Trovan look more effective.
Why these people should take our children like guinea pigs, to be treated with something that they are not sure of?
After a series of lawsuits by parents and the state of Kano, a settlement was reached in 2009. $75 million for Kano and $175,000 each for 4 families of deceased children.
If there is going to be a out-of-court settlement, the principal partners, the principal stakeholders should be those who suffer or whose children were lost or whatever.
And Pfizer didn't agree to the settlement easily. There was also an additional scandal.
One of the cables reveals that the pharmaceutical giant Pfizer hired investigators to dig up dirt on Nigeria's former Attorney General last year in an effort to pressure him to drop a $6 billion lawsuit against the company.
And we're still not done with the scandals. For Chantix, a Pfizer smoking cessation drug, thousands of lawsuits followed over suicidal and homicidal thoughts, as well as severe psychiatric disorders. And there are also hundreds of lawsuits around Pfizer's testosterone products, along with hundreds of suspicions about whether they increase the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and thrombosis.
You can't avoid the commercials selling a treatment for low T. But today, the FDA issued a new warning about the risk of life-threatening side effects from these drugs.
In 2012, $1 billion settlement was reached over the Pfizer drug Prempro, which was proven to increase the chance of developing breast cancer. More than 1,300 lawsuits were also filed in the US on behalf of women who developed brain tumors linked to the use of Pfizer's contraceptive injection, Depo-Provera, and about which they were not warned. And then, there is what most of you know Pfizer for, the COVID vaccine. COVID brought Pfizer record revenues, but also new disputes around the world. In the US, the state of Texas is suing Pfizer over allegedly misleading claims about vaccine effectiveness and censoring debate around the vaccine. And in the EU, there's a Pfizer-Gate case, an SMS conversation about a vaccine contract worth billions of euros that the public is still asking to see. In 2023, a New York Times journalist filed a request for access to messages between European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Pfizer under EU transparency laws. The Commission refused, claiming it does not possess them, stirring further outrage among the public. And Pfizer's environmental record is a long one, from industrial waste spills into the sea to air pollution to numerous violations and fines to this very day. There are also employee complaints about pensions, unfulfilled hiring commitments, and workplace infections. And as the cherry on top, of course, comes companies' ties with Israel. Without listing projects and cooperation with Tel Aviv, which for decades has carried out a brutal and illegal occupation and genocide against Palestinians, it's enough to show you who Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla actually is.
Today, things are not like many years ago because we have Israel. And Israel is a safe harbor for us. And it is something that we need to make sure that we support and protect, because this is the best guarantee that we have right now in the world that we can avoid a new Holocaust.
The question now is not whether Pfizer made important drugs or whether these drugs treat people. The question must be, at what cost for others, for whose profit, and who pays when marketing outruns ethics?